So last time I talked about Mario, 2 weeks ago, I was talking about Super Mario Land, the first real Mario game for the Game Boy. I had a lot of fun with it, especially because I wasn't using save states. Today, I want to play another Mario game for the Game Boy. Specifically, I want to play Mario's first game, to the point where he wasn't even called Mario yet, but instead called Jumpman. Though, in this, I will be referring to him as Mario. Yes, today I will be looking at the Game Boy remake of the arcade classic, as this is a quick thought on Donkey Kong 94. So before we get into this, I want to talk about the proper way to play this, because yes, you can play this on the Game Boy, up to even the Game Boy Advance, and even on the Game Boy player, which is what I'm showing you right now. But when you plug this baby into a Super Game Boy on a Super Nintendo, that is truly when the fun begins. Apparently, this was actually the first Game Boy game to have Super Game Boy enhanced features, at least according to my research anyways. So, what are those enhanced features? Well, the first one is pretty obvious. The borders of the screen is that of a Donkey Kong arcade cabinet. You can even see images of Mario, Donkey Kong, Pauline, and Donkey Kong Jr. for some reason. Is he even in this game? Not important. The second most notable thing is the colors. Normally, when playing a Game Boy game, the colors are set to a random palette of 4 colors, and unless you manually set them, they oftentimes do not look good. With most games enhanced for the Super Game Boy, however, the games have a custom palette, making them look a lot better, and this game is no exception. The next thing was actually a surprise even to me. First, I'm going to play this clip from the Game Boy player on my GameCube. Now, the same clip from the Super Game Boy. Yeah, Pauline is actually yelling for help, as opposed to the beeps you would hear from the regular Game Boy. So the point I'm trying to make is, if you have the chance to play this on a Super Game Boy, then do, because it is a much better experience. So talking about the game itself, it is more or less the exact same as the arcade version, with the biggest difference being that the levels are smaller due to the difference in screen resolution on the Game Boy from the original arcade unit. The game itself has you play in a construction site, just as Donkey Kong comes in and grabs Pauline, bringing her to the top of the section, about 25 meters up. The goal of each stage is to get to the top where DK has Pauline, all while avoiding the obstacles that are being thrown in your way. Once you do manage to get to the top, Donkey Kong grabs Pauline and brings her up another 25 meters. So you do this 2 more times, each level matching one from the arcade machine, until you get to the 4th level, about 100 meters up. And the level matches the final level of the arcade game, but the rules are a little different than the first 3 levels here. This level is more of a battle with Donkey Kong. As you try to avoid the fireballs, your goal is to break the girders at certain points by walking over them, and once all 6 points are destroyed, the center girders fall, along with Donkey Kong himself. At this point, I want to take note of how amazing the animation looks in this game. It's kind of crazy to see how expressive they can get the characters to be even on something so small as a Game Boy screen. But with that, we have saved Pauline, and with that the game ends. Or at least the arcade game does, as it just cycles back into itself. At this point, we get a really nice animation of Donkey Kong running away with Pauline and going through a door he locks behind him. Then Mario picks up a key and uses it to follow them. And this is actually more important than it first seems, because at this point in the game, it changes from the arcade game to its own game. And a major mechanic of the game is to grab the keys and bring it to the locked door in the level. Anyways, the first area we go to is the big city, which I can now only see as New Donk City. The first stage we go to is fairly small, only the size of the screen itself. The goal is just the right of where Mario starts out, but the key is in the upper right of the screen. Scattered through the stages are Pauline's hat, her umbrella, and her purse. Now, these items were also in the first 4 stages of the game, but they were only a single one in each stage. Now, we have all 3 together in one stage. And if we get all 3, after we complete the stage, we get a bonus minigame, which can net us extra lives. And there are actually 2 bonus minigames. The first is a roulette wheel, and whatever number the spinner lands on, you get that many lives, between 1 and 3. From playing it, I noticed that it seems to land on the number that you press the stop button on, or so close to it that I can hardly tell the difference. The next bonus minigame is a slot machine, which can net you a 5-up if you're lucky enough. Though I haven't noticed a way to cheat the slot machine yet. So, other than a few times getting lucky with 3-ups, I mostly got 1-ups. Now, the big city is kind of an expansion of the construction site from the first 4 levels. There are tons of girders everywhere, as well as a few wires to do fun tricks off of. Every 4 levels in the game, you also do a face-off against Donkey Kong. The first one in the big city, I had no idea what to do. No matter what trick I did, I couldn't jump high enough to get to the girders on the next row. When I found out what I was doing wrong, oh boy. Apparently, the screen extends to further left, and there is actually a ladder there you can use to climb up. Eventually, after a few attempts, I was finally able to make it to Pauline, and again, Donkey Kong grabs her and runs off again. We then get another animation, and this is going to become a running theme in the game. For example, we have this one that shows us how to make bridges. Or this one that shows us how to use levers. Or this one that shows us that doing handstands blocks damage from above. And it just continues to teach new techniques to you for at least as far as I've gotten into the game. And this happens each time we beat Donkey Kong, and needless to say, once you beat him in the last stage in an area, he grabs Pauline and goes somewhere else. The first place you go after beating Donkey Kong in the big city is the forest. Most of the enemies here are bugs or plants. Saying that, the first Donkey Kong fight stage here looks a lot like one of the levels in Donkey Kong Jr., which might be why Donkey Kong Jr. is on the cabinet. I don't know, it's a stretch, but it's the only reason I can see why. Moving on though, after the forest is the ship, which have lots of beach-type enemies, like crabs or people in scuba suits. After the ship, we get to the jungle, and this is where I ultimately decided to end my run for this quick thought on. But before we end, I just want to quickly talk about the lives in this game, and my god, they are way too easy to rack up. Now, I know I was trying to get all the items in each stage to trigger the minigames, but by the time I was in the ship, I had so many lives, I didn't even care about doing that anymore. And to top things off, this is one of the few Mario games where your lives save. So since I got over 30 lives, when I do go back to the game, I will start back up with over 30 lives again. Now don't get me wrong, I think lives not saving is stupid in other Mario games, but you just get way too many lives in this game. By the time I got to the later stages, I felt no tension other than the time I would lose if I messed up. I think it would have been better if, instead of playing for lives in the minigame, you were instead playing for points. Now don't get me wrong, I generally do not care for points. But I just had way too many lives by my cutoff point. But I digress. Outside of the game giving way too many lives, I thought the game was great fun and I could easily recommend it. But what about you guys? Have you played it before? Do you think it's better than the arcade version, or is it not worth touching today? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, hit the like button, and if you want to see more, consider subscribing if you aren't already subscribed. But anyways, that was my quick thought on Donkey Kong 94. Until next time, game on.